Okay, well, let's go ahead and get started. It's the bottom of the hour. I want to keep this to 30 to 35 minutes at most, if at all possible. And I'm not going to go through all the details tonight. I just want to show you the highlights of what's going on with a company called Usi Tech. Jerry's my best friend in Atlanta. He's made some incredible money. We want to talk about that tonight. I'm going to let Jerry expound on the fact that nobody has lost any money with USI. And this is really one of the most amazing things I've ever seen, because it allows us to passively put our money to work for us in the forex market. And for those of you that don't know what the forex market is, it's the biggest market in the world. It trades $9 trillion per day. It's open 7 days a week, and it's trading currencies against one another, and it's caused the biggest transfer of wealth in the history of the world. Usi Tech is a software company. They've been doing high-frequency trading for the past 13 years, and I've got, as we move into this, I've got to do this disclaimer. This is a presentation from an independent Usi Tech partner. Proof of payment is no guarantee you will earn the same, but it should be possible to earn this and more with an equal or greater strategy and work ethic. Any earnings figures I show are not a guarantee of income. Figures are presented for illustration purposes only. And of course, I have to do that. But as I said, this is the most incredible thing that I've ever seen. I think Jerry would agree with me. Is that fair?
That's fair.
Okay, because I don't want to put words in his mouth. Now, the way it used to be is we would go deposit $1,000 in a bank. And what the bank would do is they'd take our money, and then they would give it to companies like Usi Tech to start doing some high frequency trading, but it only benefited the bank. We didn't get any benefit from it whatsoever. And so what will happen is they'll stick it in the forex market, and now we're talking about millions of transactions per second. This is that high frequency trading. But you can see what happens. USI has been trading and designing software for the past 13 years. They are really good at this, and they've been doing most of the high frequency trading for the big banks and the bigger institutions over in Europe. Well, what's happened with the emergence of Usi Tech, everything has really changed. Now, Usi Tech is still doing the high-frequency trading for a lot of the big banks and a lot of the bigger institutions and high-net-worth individuals over in Europe and some more high-net-worth individuals around the world. But they have been approved by the FTC to do business in all 50 states. And Jerry actually went to a meeting where the law firm that represented Usi Tech with the FTC was there. Jerry, you want to talk about that for just a minute and what it did for you?
Well, it validated my belief system. I went up there and, number one, listened to the owners, listened to them talk about the company and the future of the company. I went to talk to some of the people that had been involved in the company for longer than me, and then to see what the lawyers had said. The lawyers presented what they call an opinion. The lawyers stated that they had been approved in all 50 states, and that none of the owners, based on the best of their ability, had any pending lawsuits or any outstanding debt that they saw as far as any noticeable trouble in the past. So so everything looked like a clear bill of health from them. And what happened was everybody in there, they stated, is anybody in here in the audience had lost any money in any of our products since they've been involved in it? Nobody raised a hand. And based on what during the breakout meetings and all those things, you know how you go around and talk to everybody. Everybody had a positive impact experience with them. So I came back, and then I decided it was time for me to ante up, and I went and I put $10,000 in on September 18th. And today is it's been 22 trading days since I've been involved with the
wait a minute, hold off on that. Don't tell them how much you've made yet.
Okay.
And now let me ask you this question, Jerry. Has this been totally passive on your part, or have you had to do the trading yourself, or what?
I haven't recruited one person, or I haven't done any trading myself. It's mainly strictly just the only thing that I have done is at the end of the night, the rebuy button is not available at the moment. So at the night when I get my commissions in, all I do is hit the rebuy button. Otherwise, I have not recruited anybody. I was going to wait 30 days or 20 business days for this to mature and see exactly what I've done. And then I thought, well, after I do this here, I'll have skin in the game and I'll have some results. And so starting this week's the first time I've been out talking to people. And I got a couple people coming in Thursday with their with accounts, but otherwise I hadn't recruited or talked to anybody much about what I've been doing. So I wanted to wait until I have my results, and obviously I got my results tonight, and you will show them later on the presentation.
Yeah, I will. And one thing I want everybody to understand, this is an affiliate business, and it's an affiliate program, just like Amazon has, like Walmart, like any of these big companies, Home Depot. You can sell their products online by promoting them. And if somebody buys one of their products, they'll give you a cut of it. Well, what USI does is if you share this, like I shared it with Jerry, and here's exactly what happened. I told Jerry about this, and I said, Jerry, look, everything tells me that this is a legitimate company. I can't give you a 100% guarantee that there's not something going on that's a little bit shady, but everything tells me that this is absolutely legit. They had a meeting about 2 weeks after that up in Philadelphia, and Jerry went to that because he was like me. He was a little bit skeptical. And so he went up there, got all of his questions answered to his satisfaction, and he came back home and he put $10,000 in. Now, Jerry does not ever have to tell anybody about this if he doesn't want to. All Jerry just does is every day he'll make, and what USI does basically is they're going to guarantee you that you will make a 40% return in approximately 140 days of trading. They're guaranteeing you that. So it's nearly impossible for anybody to lose money. And that's why nobody at the meeting up in up in Philadelphia raised their hands. But here's what happens. Every day that they trade for you, and they trade for us 5 days a week, at the end of that day, you'll see a settlement of what you made. And if it's enough money for you to go buy another Bitcoin package, now let me explain to you what a Bitcoin package is. A Bitcoin package is worth 53 euros. So it's a fraction of a Bitcoin. If you don't understand what Bitcoins are, then you really need to kind of catch up on that, but we'll give you some stuff to look at about that in just a few minutes. So what happens is you buy a Bitcoin package, and every time you buy a Bitcoin package, they put it in the lot of whatever's left in your account so that they'll trade it for you the next day in the high frequency trading. And they're pretty much going to make you on average about 1% per day. Now, let me explain to you what this 1% consists of. Let's say that in Jerry's case, he put in $10,000. And he's agreeing with USI that he'll leave that money in for 140 trading days. And each day after day one, he'll receive 1/140th of that principal, plus whatever interest they made him that day trading in the forex market. So this builds up pretty quickly. And as you start putting more and more money in it, like Jerry did, income that you're making starts to accelerate in some really interesting ways. And we're going to show you the results of this tonight. It's estimated today that 84% of all the trading is high frequency trading. Usi Tech has specialized in computerized trading software, as I said for a little while ago, for the big banks in Europe for the past 13 years, and they're still doing it today. And this has been available to banks and financial institutions for about the past 10 years or so. And more recently, they've allowed high net worth individuals can do this. Now, the reason only high net worth individuals up until USI came along have been able to do this is because if you take the example of a bank, when they go into the forex market, they can make anywhere from 5% to 25% per day on their money. But the flip side of that is they can also lose 5% to 25% per day. But they've got enough liquidity that they can handle 1 or 2 days a month if they lose 25%. It would wipe us out. The average person today just can't do that. Well, USI has changed all of this. And between the banks and the financial institutions, they've created the biggest transfer of wealth, the most massive transfer of wealth over the last 10 years in the history of mankind. 10 years ago, 80% of the world's wealth was owned by the middle class. Today, just 10 years later, largely due to high-frequency trading, 80% of the world's wealth is now owned by the top 1/4% of the population. Now, think about that change in only 10 years. And it's largely due to high-frequency trading. And you and I have been locked out of this because we can't tolerate the ups and downs of that trading. If we lost 25% in a day, like I said, it would wipe us out. Well, these software developers and the traders have gotten together with one of their high net worth customers, and they formed USI. And so the purpose of USI is to bring these services, to bring the ability for you and I to trade in the forex market in a way that we don't have to risk our money. Now, how do they do that? Well, they've dialed down the risk factor in their software. And what that means is, or how they say it, is they've benchmarked their software. For example, and you got to remember, you've got hundreds of thousands, millions of trades per second taking place. So what they've done with this benchmark is if a trade is not going to make money, it doesn't happen. It just sits there. And so they can almost guarantee you that you're not going to ever lose any money. Jerry, you've never lost any money, right?
Right.
I've never lost any money. And if y'all look at the history of Bitcoin, and I'm sure most of you on the call know about Bitcoin, it came out in January of 2009. Nobody knows who really was the individual or group of people that first brought it out. But what happened is for the first 3 years, Bitcoin stayed at about 10 cents a Bitcoin. And I remember hearing about it in 2011, but I didn't pay any attention to it because, I just wasn't interested. And then all of a sudden, I remember one day I heard about the fact that Georgia Tech started accepting Bitcoin. The next thing I knew, Home Depot was accepting Bitcoin. And then I started hearing about other bigger companies accepting Bitcoin. And then I started looking into it a little bit, and there were some videos on YouTube that could explain it to you. And then we see what's happened in recent years. It's just exploded. And all the naysayers have been saying that, it's a scam, it's never going to work. But what's happened is it allows me to send money directly to Jerry without having any middleman involved in the transaction whatsoever. In other words, I can send it peer-to-peer. If Jerry was over in Dubai, I could send him a payment for $1,000 or $25 or whatever the case. It doesn't matter, but I can send it directly to Jerry, and it happens instantaneously. And I don't have to get involved with the banks. I don't have to get involved with currency conversions or any of that nonsense. It also keeps that transaction completely under the radar, if you will. And so it's gaining a lot of favor, and that's why it keeps going up and up. Now, a lot of people talk about, this is going to create a situation where you're going to have people laundering money in here and that sort of thing. Well, the fact of the matter is 90% of all the money that's laundered in the world today is done through the regular banks, the traditional banks. So that's really, in my opinion, not even a fair argument. And you got to ask the question, okay, if USI can guarantee you 40% return in roughly 140 days, how in the world can they pay you this kind of money? Because if you go to the bank, you can't get 40% in 10 years. 10 years, Jerry, I guess you'd get about, if you're lucky, you might get 20%. Well, what happens here is USI is trading 8 hours a day, 5 days a week for us. There's still 16 hours left in each one of those 5 days. So what USI does is they leverage our money. Now, they're not taking our money and putting it at risk. They just are able to leverage it, kind of like banks do when they lend money overnight. And they are trading for themselves those 16 hours times 5 days per week. Now, there's 2 other days left in the week. The forex market never closes. So USI is trading those remaining 2 days, 24 hours a day for itself, leveraging our money. They're making a killing. When Jerry put in his $10,000, because his father referred him, he got a 10% referral fee, or $1,000. Now, because I had referred his father, I got a 3% referral fee. As soon as Jerry put his $10,000 in, that $300 showed up instantly in my account. Now, I could have pulled it out if I wanted to and put it in my bank, but I chose to reinvest it. But what's really significant here is that $1,000 that went to Jerry's father did not come out of Jerry's $10,000. USI gave that to his father as a way of saying thank you for referring your son to the system. Jerry was able to use the full $10,000 worth of purchasing power to buy Bitcoin packages from USI. And we're going to show you the results of what's happened to Jerry, because it's nothing less than astonishing. So what do you do next? Well, you need to activate your USI account. And, look, I understand that a lot of you, if this is the first time you've looked at this, you're going to have a lot more questions. And I'm not getting into any real detail. I just want to give you an overview tonight of what's happening. But you can set up an account with USI for free. You don't have to put any money in. You don't have to do anything. Just put in your name and your email address, set up an account for free. The next thing you want to do, if you understand this and you really want to move forward with it, you want to buy a Bitcoin package, which is roughly $65 US. Each Bitcoin package is 53 euros. We have to buy them in euros because this company is out of Europe. They do most of their trading from Dubai. You can buy these packages. You can buy one, you can buy 1,000, you can buy as many as you want. Now, the third thing you want to do is there's a calculator in your back office. Now, it's not exact, but it's very, very close to what would happen. just so you can see how the money grows with this, and you can use that to show this to people. Because let me tell you something. I've had several people, told 7 people about it. I've shared this with 7 people. 3 of those 7 people told me, well, I'm not going to share it with anybody. I just want to do it. And I said, oh, okay, fine, whatever you want to do. So they got in, they started making money. Well, the next thing I know, they're asking me to explain this to one of their friends, because that's just kind of the way this works, because it's truly amazing. One of the things, and I'm not going to get into any detail on this, but blockchain is the real technology behind Bitcoin. This is a technology that's radically going to change the world. I would really encourage you to start watching some videos on YouTube. There's some really good ones out there about blockchain and what's happening with that. If you don't know anything about Bitcoin, you really need to start boning up on that, because this is pretty dramatic. So it is absolutely free to get started. And I would really encourage you, if you've got questions, get back to us and we'll answer anything we can. Jerry will answer anything that you might have on this. So let's do this. Jerry, let me go out here. I'm trying to get to USI Tech. Hold on just a minute here. All right, Jerry, do you see USI Tech?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And all you have to do is you come over here to the right, and you're just going to register. You can do it for free. You're going to put in an email address, create a password. The security on this site is really pretty heavy, because you're talking about moving money overseas and stuff like that. So it's going to be very secure, and it's going to be slow at times. But they're moving everything over to new servers on the Amazon web servers, which will speed things up. But that's not going to happen probably till the end of this month. Do you know the timing on that, Jerry?
They said sometime after the convention about
okay.
Personal.
And the convention is over in London. This is their first year anniversary, and that's happening. And let me tell you what we were going to do. We were going to send Elizabeth to London to go to the convention, but it got so expensive. Elizabeth and I looked at each other and said, look, we'd much rather put this money in USI than spend it on airline tickets. We'll get the same information. So we decided for her not to go. So let's go in here real quick, and let me show you what happened. If we go in here now this is my account, and what this is doing, this is not the dashboard. This is just showing me that I've got 0.0136 Bitcoins available, Bitcoin package. And you can see that a Bitcoin package from USI costs right now 0.0110. So I've got enough to buy another one. And I just want to go ahead and do this. Let me go ahead and refresh it, because I know it's out of, it's one of these sites where, because of the security on it, if you're dormant for about 2 minutes, it'll log you out. So I've got 0.0136, and I'll tell you where this came from in just a minute. But I can go down here and click on I've read and accepted this, and I'm going to purchase another package. All right, you heard my phone go off right there. It was telling me that I just bought another package. So now if I go back to the dashboard, I had 36 packages just before I started the presentation. And now this is being slow because of the security with it and whatnot. Now I've got 37 packages. Now each one of those packages, Jerry, this is right, they cost me 53 euros each, correct?
Correct.
And $3 of that is the mining fee, because they're able to mine their own Bitcoin, which is a big deal for us. As a matter of fact, one of the things that's happened with this is that USI is now the biggest, they own the biggest single block of Bitcoin in the world, which to me is amazing because they're only a year old. And it used to be the IRS, but because the IRS had seized all the assets of the guy who started the Silk Road, and I believe they had about 150,000 Bitcoins at that time, and they auctioned them all off, which was really kind of stupid on their part, but that's the government for you. And then what we've got now, we think, we don't know the exact number, but as a block of a company, we have somewhere between about 300,000 and 500,000 Bitcoins, which is just astonishing because this company's only 1 year old. And there are a lot of other things that are happening. But Jerry, let's go ahead, and if I go down here, now this is just, of course, the navigation over on the left. If I go down here to reports earnings, and Jerry showed me this last night and it just blew me away. I'm going to do mine first. Now, let me tell you how I got started, guys, and I'm just going to be very transparent here. I didn't really have any money at the time to put into this. I was working with the company for about a year without making much money, and I was really spending a lot of time with it. It's a great company, still doing that. But this came along. I said no to it 4 times. And then finally, Gina called me up, Tom's wife, and said, Alan, look, you better look at this. I promise you, you need to take a look at it. I said, all right. So I looked at it and I was like, this is pretty interesting. Anyway, Tom wanted me to do some slides for him. I didn't have any money to invest in this at the time. And Tom bought me 2 Bitcoin packages. So I started with roughly 106 euros in my account, and that was it. And so let me show you what's happened now. I've been trading now for about 66 days, I believe. So here's what's happening. Jerry called me up last night and showed me this. Now, Jerry, this is what the total left amount is what?
That is what's left on. If you never did a rebuy on your packages with what you've invested, that's what they would pay you, that much in Bitcoin. That's what they owe you right now.
Okay. Now, and let me kind of back up just a little bit. Jerry put in $10,000. What Jerry did when he did that is he agreed with USI that he would leave that $10,000, that principal, with them for roughly 140 trading days. Is that correct, Jerry?
That is correct.
Okay. And each day they would take his money over the 5 days of the week that they were trading for him. They would take it and they would trade him in the forex market. And it was benchmarked so it wouldn't lose any money. And nobody's ever lost any money, as Jerry was telling you. And so every day they're going to do 2 things. They're going to pay you the interest at the end of the day that they earned you in the forex market. They're also going to pay you 1/140th of that $10,000 in Jerry's case that he put in. And each day he'll get 1/140th of the amount he put in. And at the end of the 140th day, that contract, if you will, is up. And Jerry's liquidated everything in there. But what happens, the Bitcoin package that I just bought, I just started another contract on that Bitcoin package for 140 days. So let's say that I get to the end of my 140 days of the 2 Bitcoin packages that Tom bought me. Then it would take another 140 days for all these packages, because I'm buying new packages every day now with the commissions that I'm making from what Jerry's doing, from what Elizabeth's doing, from what I'm doing, etc. And I'm starting another contract with a small amount, but it gets bigger and bigger every day. So it's really getting kind of exciting with this. So if I take this 0.62051 Bitcoins and I go to Bitcoin price to euro, and you can just go to Google and do this, put in Bitcoin price to euro. And if I put it in here, that means I've got $2,978 and $2,978 euros. Now, if I take the 2,978 euros, copy that, and then go back to Google again and go from euros to dollars and paste it in here, watch what happens. That means if I didn't put any more, if I didn't rebuy any more packages for the remainder of that first initial 140 days, that when that was over, I would have in my account, I would have liquidated out $3,507.77. Now that's assuming that Bitcoin doesn't go up to 10,000 or go up to 15,000, which we think it absolutely will. It could go down, but still, look at this. I've made $3,507.77 in about 66, or it might be a little bit closer to 70 days of trading. I'm not quite sure. But I started with 103 euros, guys. Now, this is incredible. Try to do that at the bank. If you'll be lucky if you can get 2% per year from the bank, and it's not going to be compounding. This is compounding for us. Now, let's do this. Let's go to Jerry's account. So I want you to see what's happened. And understand this, Jerry has not been in anywhere near as long as I have, because he wanted to wait and go to the meeting up in Philadelphia. Take this tab, and I'm going to log into Jerry's account. Okay, now here's Jerry's account. Now, I don't know if y'all remember remember I had 37 Bitcoin packages. Look at Jerry's account. He's got 217. But remember, Jerry put in 10,000 US dollars, and I put in about 126 US dollars. So that's the difference right there. If we go down over here and we go to reports earnings, click on that. Once again, Jerry, if you can see my screen, I'm going to let you explain all this.
The 3.9151, that's what's the balance that they owe me off my original account.
So I'm going to put this in. This is euros to Bitcoins to euros. That's the 3.9. let's now go from euros to dollars, and let's see what happens here. It's $22,132.64.
Well, and let me explain a little bit about how that also happened. When I bought my original 10,000, I got like 2.7 Bitcoin for $2,000. And at the time that I bought it, the Bitcoin was about $4,000. Besides what I've earned off my interest, Bitcoin has went to about 56 to 5,700. So I made about 1,500 off my original 3 Bitcoins. So that was 4,500. I made just off. When I bought 10,000, I bought like 2.7, I think it's 2.7 Bitcoin. Well, now see, they owe me 40% of the 2.7 Bitcoin, not 40% of my 10,000. So they owe you, when I put 10,000, they don't owe me 400, they don't owe me 4,000 of the 10,000. They owe me 40% of my Bitcoin. So when I bought 2.7 Bitcoin, they owe me 40% of that Bitcoin. Well, now that 40% of the Bitcoin has jumped from 4,000 to almost 6,000. So that's why mine has went up a pretty good bit, because a lot of it was to do because of when I bought it 30 days ago. I bought it on the 18th and today's the 17th. I bought it 29 days ago and it was about 4,000. Well, now it's up to $5,800. So see, that's where it is. When they tell you 10,000 and I get 40%, 14,000, it's really you get 40% of the Bitcoin that you originally buy. Does that make sense, Alan?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, because it's not, when I put 10,000 and they guarantee me 40%, it ain't they guarantee me $4,000. They guarantee me 40% of whatever Bitcoin. So if I buy 1 Bitcoin, they're going to repay me back 1.4 Bitcoin. Well, that 4 Bitcoin, now that they're paying me back at a rate of on $5,800 instead of my 4,000 where I originally bought it.
I mean, these results are nothing less than astonishing, right?
Right. Yeah. Right. But I didn't want everybody to think it was just strictly the trading. Some of what increased this and went up. That I was fortunate enough when I did buy it at 4,000. But even buying at 4,000, the people that have been buying the last 8 months ahead of me enjoyed even bigger gains because they were buying Bitcoin at a lower rate than me.
Yeah, and part of my gain too came from the fact that when Tom got my little bitty piece of Bitcoin, because there's only 2 Bitcoin packages, I think Bitcoin at that time was about 2,900 or maybe 3,100, something like that. But now here's another question that y'all should be asking yourselves. Okay, Alan, that sounds great, but what if Bitcoin goes down? Well, all they do is they switch to they can switch to Ethereum, they can switch to any coin that they want to, or they can even switch to dollars or euros. And I don't know whether they would switch to Ethereum or they'd switch to euros. I don't know, but they can make that decision and they can make it instantly. And so it really kind of isolates us or insulates us, that's probably a better word, from any depreciation in the value of Bitcoin. China's tried to knock out Bitcoin. There was some other country that tried to knock out Bitcoin, and yet Bitcoin is still just going along. It's dipping down every now and then, but it shoots right back up. And a lot of people are starting to get on the bandwagon, but we are in the very beginning stages of this. And the nice thing I like about this, Jerry, is there's nobody that can tell me any requirements I have to open up an account, or I can only have so much because I'm only worth so much, or any of that nonsense. They can't regulate my account because it has nothing to do with the banks. And so we're able to bypass all of that and do with our money what we want to. Now you're going to have to pay taxes on this because USI will in fact send you a 1099 at the end of the year. But Jerry, my understanding is that the income that we make from this is actually going to be taxed as capital gains. Is that correct?
That is correct. That's what I've been told.
Okay.
Now, Al, let me explain to you on the Bitcoin going down. When they're paying you 40% more, say if you buy 1 Bitcoin, they're paying you 1.4 Bitcoin back. Even if your Bitcoin dropped 20%, you'd still make 20% off your investment. So you've really got a 40% insurance policy, and they're just on the break even. So anything less.
That's right. I didn't think about that.
You really got a 40% policy. And based on the last 7 years of the way this thing's going, the odds are it's going to increase by 40% higher than it is going to decrease by 40%.
Mm-hmm. Well, Jerry, now what is this right here that we're looking at, the total earned account?
That's what they've already paid me. Yeah. This increase went up exactly 22 days. Friday was my 20-day period, and then I've had Monday and Tuesday, and my Tuesday trades are already in there. They come in about 7:30, 8 o'clock every night.
Yeah. Now, Jerry, I hope he doesn't mind me saying this, but Jerry owns about 30 or 40 houses. I don't know the exact number. He owns some warehouses and a couple of strip malls and whatnot. So he's got a lot of money tied up in physical assets. And I told him last night, I said, Jerry, if you don't sell one of your houses and put all of this into USI, you're crazy. But, he's put in $10,000. That's a lot of money. And he's real excited about it. I'm super excited about this because I've just never seen anything like this. And I want to go ahead and wrap this up real quick. But, the bottom line is you're very passive in this. Jerry and I don't really have to do anything except go in here. So we go back in Jerry's account real quick. And we'll go down here. We'll click on this rebuy button. And if I click on that, let's see if it. Okay, there we go. Now, Jerry doesn't have enough in here. He needs 0.011 Bitcoin in order to buy a package. And he just bought one. I'm assuming you just bought a couple of packages today, probably.
I bought a balance. I already bought 2 for tonight.
Okay, he's already bought 2 Bitcoin packages tonight. So
I try to do it about 8 o'clock every night just to get in the routine.
Okay. So, Jerry, you got anything you want to wrap this up with?
No, that if anyone's got any questions, please contact me or you, and we'd be more than happy to help them or talk to anybody that they have that's interested in it. I'd be more happy to show them my example of what's happened to me.
Okay. And guys, listen, again, I've never seen anything like this. Jerry's never seen anything like this because you're basically being guaranteed that you're going to make 1% per day over 140 days. And I don't know where else you can do anything like this. And if Bitcoin continues to go up, which I expect that it probably will, and it might have some corrections here and there, but I don't care. And there's some other things coming. Now, Jerry, one of the things that we do know, and I'll end with this, guys. At the end of this month, they're having their 1-year anniversary, like I said earlier, over in London, England. They've already told us that they're bringing out a product that's probably going to pay us somewhere between 3 to 5% per day. This is paying us roughly 1% per day. And this is the best thing I've ever seen. So I don't know what it is. I don't know how they're going to do it. But understand these guys are experts. They've been doing this for the past 13 years for the big banks and the big institutions over in Europe. And they out of the kindness of their hearts, as far as I'm concerned, because if you stop and think about it, Jerry, they're just giving us money. I mean, I don't have to do anything. Nobody's lost any money. And how many people are involved in this now? About 90,000 or something?
I think they're over 100.
Okay, over 100,000. And nobody's lost any money. And I've never seen any company that can make that kind of claim. So anyway, I would encourage you really to get back to whoever invited you on the call, get your questions answered, and I'd get started. If you want to wait till the end of the month to see if the product's going to come out is going to be better, you can do that. But what would your advice be on that, Jerry?
I would put it in now, and then instead of doing the rebuys, go ahead and put it in now, start earning 40%. Because today you can put it in and just not hit rebuy, let it build up. The day it comes out, take your money that you built up and just transfer it to the other account.
Yeah, and one last thing I want to say, and then we'll wrap it up right here, is every day that you get this money coming out, you don't have to rebuy packages if you don't want to. You can just let it sit there, and then you can pull it out. And the only thing you'd have to do to pull it out is just go over here to withdraw, and you're going to use the system you set up to withdraw it, which in this case, did I do that wrong? I think I did something wrong. What did I do wrong here, Jerry? I want to pull the money out. What was it?
You did it right.
Okay.
Go to the top of the page, to the right-hand corner.
Oh, okay. All right. There we go. Withdraw.
I had 0.009. It took out my transfer fee, and I would just withdraw in euro or hit withdraw, either one of those two buttons, and then it would take me to my withdrawal page.
Mm-hmm. And you can pull your money out. Now,
you pull it out anytime.
Yeah, you can do it. It's your money. You can do it whatever you want. So, guys, listen, thanks for being on the call. I apologize. We ran over about 15 minutes, but some of this was really important. I wanted you to see the kind of money that we're making sitting back really and just doing nothing but hitting a rebuy button every night about 8 o'clock. Hey, Jerry, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And if anybody needs any help explaining something to somebody, feel free to give us a call and we'll help you with it. So thanks so much for being on the call. We'll talk to you soon. Take care, guys.